Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Mike Norvell and the Florida State Seminoles get it done yet again on the 2024 high school recruiting trail. Landing one of the top offensive tackles in this 2024 class was committed to USC, decommitted a couple days ago. And Mike Norvell, Alex Atkins sweep in and land Manasse Itete, a super intriguing offensive tackle prospect from the state of California, 6'5", 290 pounds. A phenomenal athlete as well. Basketball player, also played a little bit on the defensive line. You're getting a big body who's a functional athlete, and that is normally a pretty good recipe for getting good offensive linemen. Now, before we get into it, just want to say thank you to you guys, and especially the Florida State Seminole fans. We talked Charles Lester last night. The support you guys have shown it meant a lot. Appreciate you guys checking us out, rocking with us. If you do enjoy the updates, consider subscribing to the channel. And it sounds like some more news could be coming. I got time on Saturday, so lock it in if you do enjoy the updates. Again, appreciate y'all. Let's get into Manasse Itete, who I love offensive tackles who have a basketball background, because what does that mean? They got good feet. They are functional athletes, and that's kind of rare to find, right? A guy that's 6'5", 290 pounds, but also can get it done on the hardwood. He averaged over 11 points per game during his time playing high school basketball. You're getting a guy that we'll dig into the film, probably a little bit raw, but you know that the athleticism, the functional athleticism is certainly there with a guy in Manasse Itete. And I love doing this, but I got to shout out Alex Atkins. And we try to talk and highlight some of the important position coaches and the recruiters. And Alex Atkins does not get enough love according to the national media, right? You hear about guys like Brian Hartline getting it done at Ohio State. Alex Atkins is really revamping this offensive line, bringing in top talent, but he's also developing that talent as well. So Alex Atkins, certainly a riser in the coaching industry, and he gets it again with Manasse Itete. And I want to take us to the film because he is a fun film to watch. And the first thing that you're going to see is he's got solid feet, but what I like most about him, and the feet and the technique, that'll come when he gets enrolled in Tallahassee at Florida State. But what I love the most is just how strong he is in the upper body. When defensive linemen try to get into him, especially in pass pro, he just eats him up. And then when it is time to run block and get downhill and keep those feet moving, he's an absolute mauler as well. Really, really good film study to watch. And a 2024 class that maybe lacks a little bit of offensive tackle talent. And that's like what I kind of mean, right? Like maybe the feet need to get a little bit better, but he gets like, he just eats guys up and puts them in the dirt. Like this guy from an upper body standpoint is super, super strong. And when it comes to playing in space and having that mean streak, he certainly has that as well. Maybe a little bit of technique work there, but again, you're getting a guy that has the athleticism, he has the body, and then you get him in and you coach him up. And like I said, Alex Atkins is a guy that has done a phenomenal job developing talent on the offensive line. Again, just eating guys up when they get into his body. Really, really long arms, really, really strong upper body, and can play in space. Like you see the athleticism. You take a look back at that play. Like that's hard for a guy who's 300 plus pounds to get to the second level and go find a linebacker and put a helmet on a helmet. And he certainly does and takes him right to the parking lot. I like this kid's game a lot, and you don't see many people beat him on the outside because the athleticism is there. Get out in space, big dog. He's got very strong grip strength, puts a guy in the dirt. Really, really good get for Florida State. And I want to take us to that Florida State class, and we talked and recapped the 2024 class as a whole when Charles Lester committed yesterday. I want to focus on the offensive line and kind of the blend of guys that they got in. Jonathan Daniels from Pensacola, Florida, is more of he is ready to play. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's a guy that if a lot of these offensive linemen go to the NFL draft, he could be a guy that's kind of ready to play early for Florida State. 6'3", 280, one of the more refined prospects on three, has him as a top 50 national recruit. And then you go get a guy in Manasse Itete who is more of a project, right? He's a guy that I don't think will start year one, but you get him into that system. You get him coached up by Alex Atkins. I am really optimistic about a guy in Manasse Itete who, again, plays defensive line, plays basketball, has that functional athleticism along with that big body to be developed into a really premier starter at the ACC or SEC level if Florida State decides to go to the SEC. Now, taking a look at this class, especially on the offensive side of the ball, you got to be thrilled. Like Luke Kromenhoek, again, we talk about he's going to be a 5-star when this process is over. You're throwing to a 5-star tight end in Landon Thomas. You have a guy, I mean, Cameron Davis, one of the best running backs in the class, actually one of the best running back according to some recruiting services that you look at. You get Mekhi Danzy in there, who's kind of an undersized guy who blazing speed. And then you take a look at the offensive firepower in the offensive line around Luke Kromenhoek. This is shaping up to be a very, very special class. A guy like Elijah Moore, one of my favorite wide receivers in this class, 6'4", 200 pounds. When you take a look at his tape, I mean, this is a guy that the functional athleticism, I've used that word a lot. When you're 6'4.5", the body control, the ball skills that Elijah Moore has at the catch point, you're surrounding Luke Kromenhoek with a very solid offensive line, a very solid running back room, and some elite wide receivers as well. This could be a very, very fun class for Florida State, who I might say has Jeremiah Smith visiting on campus this weekend. And I'm not going to say you're going to go out and flip Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State, but like if Florida State's got some momentum, and I said when you're hot, you are hot on the recruiting trail. And the last guy I want to talk about, and a guy that I don't think it's out on Florida State. I think KJ Bolden is certainly in the running for Florida State. Now, a lot of the crystal balls, a lot of the traction has to do with Georgia. He plays with Dylan Raiola, who's a Georgia commit. That being said, if there's a team that's lurking in this commitment, I do think it's the Florida State Seminoles. They already have two really, really good cornerbacks in this class already. You add KJ Bolden, the number one safety, to that back end, you're looking at truly a special recruiting class for Florida State that we've kind of said all along. This is a class that if Florida State can play at the level I think they can play in 2023, this is a group that could come together really late too, as Florida State pushes to win an ACC title, pushes to win a national title, which we certainly think is in the possibility for Florida State. Very, very fun time to be a Noles fan. Again, appreciate you guys rocking with the boys like you always have. And if you do enjoy the content, you enjoy the updates, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate y'all, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.